Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
Humans have reached a point of stagnation, and the next step in evolution is upon us. Telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation. These are the powers of the Tomorrow people, and they are about to break out. Join Flash, Harley, and X-Force 11 as they jump to a new story of heroes to follow their fight against a corrupt government who wants to hunt them down. This is the Tomorrow People, as brought to you by Tomorrow's Legends.
Well, hello, evolutionary breakouts. Yep, that's the name as it stands right now according to our Facebook poll. But adding in the results from Twitter, the new name is actually Breakouts. So there you have it. No longer the Tomorrow People. We are called the Breakouts as fans of this show. Which makes me suddenly the broken out Flash, I guess.
I feel like that has the wrong connotation. And I'm Harley Quinn.
Hello, legends.
Yeah, hello, the OGs. You, me, and Gideon. Back in the day.
That's right.
You are listening to one of the shows on the Cybercast Network, which also includes X-Men 97 by myself, known as Havoc, and Shadowcat over there. And then there is Dive into DC with Silverfox and Green Butterfly. They are in the middle of Dead Boy Detectives right now, so check that show out. Apparently it's a lot of fun and just crazy stuff happening over there. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. We also got Superman and Lois coming out later this fall, hopefully sometime soon. And then the Mandalore podcast, which is eagerly anticipating The Acolyte, which comes soon in the beginning of June. So check out all the shows on the network. There's lots on tap for you to enjoy. Whew, we are here for The Tomorrow People, Season 1, Episode 7, called Limbo. Look at us, Harley. We are at Tomorrow's Legends, Episode 288.
Ooh, how did we get here?
Frick, that's a lot of episodes. Well, I mean, covering as many shows as we do, like the variety, and then doing rewatch seasons, and it's adding up fast. So. But you know what? We can blame Silverfox and Grim Butterfly, because they're like doing an episode every single week trying to catch us in the numbers. They're like, nope, we can't let them catch up.
Whoa. Well, good on them. They will catch us eventually, but
their content is evergreen, yeah, because they can just keep on coming back. As long as DC is running, they'll be running, right?
Yeah, which pretty much DC content in some shape or form will literally never end.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's up to us to just keep picking a new show, because Legends will never come back, but we just got to keep finding a new show. And we do have the new Green Lantern series coming, so...
That's true. I keep forgetting about that. I feel like we've been talking about that for like 3 years.
Yeah. So if that's a success, that'll keep us going for a little while.
Very true. Very true.
See? I mean, Superman's ending this year, and after that, yeah.
That phase.
But there's shows like this, Tomorrow People, to keep us going. We'll find something.
That's true. We always do.
We always do. We are legends. We'll find stuff. Don't worry.
And legends never die.
Legends never die. Perfect. Well, let's get into the rating for this episode.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
All right, X-Force once again sent in his feedback, which includes his rating, so here he is.
Hello, people of tomorrow. It's Jeff, X-Force 11, checking in with my thoughts on Limbo. You know, overall, I was a little disappointed in it. I only would probably rate this maybe a 7.5 to maybe an 8. I feel like it was too angsty and love triangle-y. Well, you couldn't even call it a triangle, maybe a love rectangle. I don't know. It's that part of the episode and the whole basketball and the party, and I mean, it's so tropey, and I think I don't know that we necessarily needed all of that. I did like the part where Steven got to see his father and his father passing on some information. But overall, I just think this was a weak story out of the season. But, I mean, you know, we've got a 22-episode season, so there's bound to be some lighter ones in there. But those are my thoughts. Looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. X-Force 11 signing out.
There must be. I wonder what kind of system he uses, because he's way across the galaxy right now. Like, how does he transmit a signal to us from so far away? That's crazy.
It's impressive, I will say. Very reliable, also.
Yeah, it's pretty good sounding stream, too.
Yeah.
Those lanterns, you know.
They have their ways.
Uh-huh. All right, what about you?
All right, I gave this one 8 creepers because, dude, this one had some super creepy vibes, especially right at the beginning. I was like, am I watching the right show?
Yeah.
Oh, man. But I actually thought the high school scenes were kind of a welcome break from the intensity of that particular plotline. And it was a decent episode for me. You know, I was yet again surprised that things resolved very quickly. They weren't drug out. Although I definitely don't think the stuff between Cara and Steven is necessarily over, even though she says it is, because I do think Steven's right. They're connected in some way. So we'll just have to see where they go. Or I guess I'll have to see where they go with the rest of that. I don't know if you guys happen to remember or not. But anyways.
Not remembering much.
Not remembering much. Yeah,
No.
that's been the consensus. And I know it's been quite some time since you both watched it. So I guess that's working in my favor. Definitely saw the Astrid bombshell kind of coming a mile away. I think we all kind of did. Everybody knew that, you know, that was the whole thing. That's why she still stuck around. That's why she was, you know, hanging around him when everybody else kind of left his side. You know, of course, there's ulterior motives. You know, she's going to stay there because she thinks she loves him. So anyways, we'll have to see what happens with that now that that's all out in the open, which again was another thing I wasn't expecting to come out. But I am a little bit surprised she forgave him so quickly, or it just seems like she forgave him for basically reading her thoughts. I really don't think he did that on purpose, though. So
No.
I don't know. Interesting plot lines, but
Yeah, we'll
last
talk
thing
about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Last thing I would just want to do is give an honorable mention to the little brother in this episode because I thought he was really funny.
To Luca?
Yes.
Okay.
He made me laugh.
Funny. Well, I'm actually quite opposite of X-Force tonight. I'm giving this an 8.5 creepy fun times at the blank high school, because I don't know if we've ever had a name for the high school they're in. I'm not even
I have
sure.
no idea.
So, but you know what? This episode was just fun. It opens with some true thriller movie creep vibes, something out of like the movie Scream type of series, how he kept teleporting and he's
God,
whistling.
so creepy.
Like, whoa, it was creepy, yeah. And then it takes us into Steven's day off, or days off, I should say, as he is taking a break from Ultra and kind of from the Tomorrow People to just be a teenager. And it ended up being just light fun with the basketball, him and Astrid having a good time, John messing with him for revenge. I just enjoyed this one all the way through because it was on the light side of things. We've had 6 episodes in a row of some pretty intense, serious storytelling where we were just constantly getting surprised and going, "Whoa, what's happening? Like, I can't believe they're doing this 6 episodes in." I think we needed a bit of a breather, which is what this one was, and it was just fun to see our characters have some fun and Astrid get a lot more screen time. So
Yeah, she did get a lot more screen time. That's a good point.
yeah. All right, well, let's get into our talking points and see where we go with this episode.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
Okay, let's go right back to that creepy beginning. Oof.
Oh my gosh, these opening scenes. So I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot because I was getting so creeped out by this. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna have him be a serial killer. They can't kill people. So so I was like, oh, why did they? Oh, they had to go that route because he can't kill people, I guess. So they ended up making him a serial rapist, which is extremely creepy and also extremely gross. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess that took a turn. I wish he was really a serial killer, but he can't be because they can't kill anybody.
No, but he can, I mean, from what we saw in the episode, he can actually put them in situations where they're going to die anyway. He doesn't have to do the killing.
Nope, he sure doesn't.
Right?
Nope. So yeah, I think that's something that we'd speculated on a few episodes ago of, can they cause someone's death as long as it's indirectly? And the answer is 100% yes.
Yes,
they can.
Exactly. But,
so I guess he was kind of a serial killer in a way.
In a way. Definitely a serial creepazoid, though. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was freaky. And honestly, you kind of knew someone who gains these kind of powers was going to use them for dark and nefarious deeds. Like, not everybody's going to be a good, heroic type of person when they get abilities. It kind of reminded me of The Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Because that was more of a horror thriller take on the Invisible Man story. And the first thing Kevin Bacon does when he becomes invisible, he goes and he rapes somebody.
Oh, wow.
Because he can. Because she can't see him. And she gets imagine how scary that is. Like, the sequence is pretty freaky. She's being attacked by somebody she can't see, and her clothes are being ripped off, and she's being thrown on the bed and taken advantage of. And she can't see what it is. Like, how scary would that be?
Oh, that's terrifying.
It's like a ghost attacking you, right? Like,
ew, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just freaky. So there is just some creeps out there in this world that would not be good if they gain these type of abilities. And this guy was genuinely creepy as hell. Like, they got a good actor for him. He looked freaky.
Oh, yeah.
He looked like a sicko. And I mean, you just have to think about the reality. Like, we're so wrapped up in DC and Marvel, and every superpower becomes a good guy. I mean, yes, there's villains, but we're so wrapped up in the heroic side of things that we forget that you give somebody that's not a good person these abilities, and they're going dark. So
I like that they showed that side of it, like, because like you said, there is always both sides, but we tend to see only like the heroic side of it. So I do like that they're kind of showcasing that it, just like there's all kinds of people, like, it just depends on your environment, depends on how you were raised, like all this sort of stuff. It defines the person you become.
Yep.
And if, bad people can get, evolved out of superpowers, just as much as good people can too. So I like that they're showing that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of points like that the show ventures into areas that other shows never did. And I think that's part of why I enjoyed the writing and what was going on here. For sure. Because, that guy, scary. But we go from that right into some hotel romance. Ooh. Well. It was more than just a kiss. Whew. And a fancy hotel to boot. Like, that was not a cheap hotel. Room service and, a couple of rooms. Like, those guys went all out and had a fun night. I'm talking Cara and Steven. Holy. I'm
guessing that's, the same special getaway room that she tends to go to with John as well. So I thought that was interesting that they would choose the same place. It seemed like it to me, but I mean, maybe not. So, but it was definitely an expensive, nice hotel, which was awesome for Steven, I guess, until they wake up in the morning. And, she's definitely kind of giving him a little bit of the cold shoulder. She definitely regrets kind of what she's done. Yeah. And in these early scenes, I was like, okay, she's being super weird. Like, she's definitely going to tip off John if she keeps being like this weird, like her or Steven, because neither one of them I felt was holding things together very well. They were definitely acting weird and more different than they normally would. Yeah. But I mean, this ends up getting resolved before the end of the episode anyway. But I was like, if you guys keep acting real weird, he's going to figure it out anyway. Doesn't take a genius to put two and two together.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was immediately thinking twice about what she just did. Like, she's guilty as charged, and the tension in the room, like you mentioned, like John immediately picked up on it. Like, he's not a dummy. He immediately picked up on that there's something weird here. Yeah. Nobody's acting their usual self, and he confronts her right away. But, yeah, that tension was just, thick as thick. It was heavy.
It was. Yeah. No, there was definitely a lot of tension. I think he was definitely feeling like something was up, but he couldn't quite figure out what it was at first.
Totally.
But anyways, we'll get back to those scenes later. In the meantime, we cut to Steven and Astrid in, I assume this is gym class at first, where they're supposed to be like picking teams and playing basketball.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. It was gym class. Yep.
Yeah, like Steven's kind of trying to hide up in the bleachers and just, keep to himself. But then Astrid comes up and is talking to him, and so of course he gets drafted, I guess, into playing basketball. I don't know. It was all kind of like a little bit confusing. It was like they were allowed to be sitting up there, and then all of a sudden the gym coach was like, "No, you guys need to be playing basketball. We're gonna do this now." It was just kind of weird.
Well, I think like you said, it was gym class, and the coach, the teacher saw it. Hey, Steven, get down here. Like, you need to be here. You can't be sitting up there playing. So.
Gotcha.
You had to come down here and play the game, and this is what I was talking about. There's just light and fun for a change, and what I liked is that Astrid totally encouraged him to be naughty with his powers, and goof around in the basketball game, and it was fun seeing her enjoy being part of his little superpower world with him, and because that's all she wanted. She just wanted to be included in his life and him to be open and honest with her, because we get the feelings expressed later, but they've been best friends for a long time, so she just wants to be part of his world, and I just enjoyed watching her have so much fun getting to be that again. So no, I mean, it was definitely fun. There were a lot of fun scenes getting to see him. I guess it was kind of similar to the pool, that game that they were playing. Was that in the last episode or the episode before? I think it was the episode before, where they're trying to like hustle at a pool. And so it was kind of like that, but it was different. It was kind of funny to see the reactions of some of the other players that like, how'd you get so good? Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Yep.
Apparently he gets good enough that they decide to put him on the varsity team, because I guess they're short players or something. There was like a weird situation there.
Exactly. They were short. So somebody was sick or somebody was hurt or something, so they needed somebody.
Yeah, so now he's become a superstar overnight, and that comes along with some interesting perks. They usually throw a giant party before their games, apparently. This seems like not a good practice, and like you would be absolutely terrible the next day. So
but that seemed to be an all-American school type of thing to do, though. Like, we've seen it in so many movies and stuff about having a big party before the big tournament or the big all-state championship, whatever it is.
Yes, but the reality is you have to save that stuff for afterwards, because as we saw, when you get caught, inevitably it causes a lot of problems. Anyways, so that's neither here nor there. But so he ends up offering to throw this party, which accidentally, quote unquote, turns into this giant kegger party, and he becomes super popular with everyone overnight, which is very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if maybe a day or two actually passed before that. I'm not sure, but it's just it's funny. Like, we see this happen all the time, as it always goes. And I remember witnessing this in high school. You tell one wrong person about your party, and the whole school knows, and everybody shows up, and now your party is out of control. Yeah. Whoops! I mean, I witnessed that so many times in high school. And fun story, like, because of that, because of being at parties like that, when I had my own parties, when my mom wasn't home for the weekend, it was invite only, and I actually hired bouncers to man the door just so people wouldn't let themselves in and join.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, seriously, beer buys a lot of loyalty, so I buy them a case, a 24 case of beer, and they would just stand by the door for 2 hours, and then come join us in a little bit.
Huh.
It was fine. So my parties, I'd have up to 15, 20 people, but it was invite only. And
nice.
then I was able to keep it under control.
Smart.
Yeah.
See, that's very smart. I never threw parties in high school. So
I was pretty popular for that time. My friends really liked my parties, because I had my one friend was a DJ, so he would set up all his DJ equipment in my dining room, and we'd just be blasting music throughout the house and turn the living room into a dance floor, and it was we had good times. A lot of fun.
Nice.
A lot of drinking, a lot of dancing, a lot of boys trying to hook up with girls. Like,
I see. Yeah. I saved all that for college.
Oh, okay. Too many times that I don't even want to think about. I had to kick people out of my room. That is my bedroom. Get out. You'll find another place. Get out of here.
Oh, God, that's really funny.
Yep. So, there you go. But it's just funny. It happens all the time, and that's what happened to poor old Stephen here.
It did, indeed. So, his house gets trashed. His mom figures it out.
She left him a note. I like the note. What did it say? I want this clean. I want this spotless before I get home.
Yeah, something about the house better sparkle before something. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Speaking of her, though, like we haven't seen her in like 3 episodes now. I wonder why.
Yeah, she's probably just like a special guest that they're calling in for a few episodes here and there. I guess would be my guess. I don't think she's a season or, as it turns out, to be series regular. So,
too bad.
Oh, well, we get to those scenes in a bit because there's also anyway, there's some aftermath. So before we finally get to the end of the party, we're gonna cut back and forth a lot back to our original Tomorrow people breakouts, whatever we want to call them, because they are now trying to track down this rapist without Steven's help because he's off busy being a teenager.
Yeah. But you're right. It was the original 3, so Cara, John, and Russell go after the rapist, but they didn't employ the best tactics. They just kind of poofed in right in front of him and let him see who they were and let him witness that there's people with powers like him. I mean, they should have taken him by surprise just to catch him off guard, because he just easily got away. So it kind of was at their best.
I thought that was a little odd that they didn't really come in with any sort of like plan of attack other than to, I guess, catch him by surprise. But you would think that they'd have figured out, that he was a bit more stealthy or off his rocker based on everything that was happening. So I agree. I thought that was not a very good tactic.
Yep. But then we bounce back to, I guess this is maybe the next day, or is this at the party?
No, so these scenes are all intersplicing throughout the party.
Yeah.
The party takes place over most of the episode, really.
Right. Well, we get a scene with Astrid and Steven going up to his bedroom, and I just have to say that I called it, and I don't think it was from memory, but we knew that Astrid was going to go to Steven's room eventually, and Cara would be in there waiting for him, and surprise! There's another woman in the bedroom.
Yep.
We knew that was going to happen, and how uncomfortable or awkward was that situation?
That was really awkward because I don't know if love rectangle is quite the right word for it, but there's definitely a couple different triangles, because you've got like the Steven, Cara, Astrid triangle, and then of course you've got the Steven, Cara, John triangle kind of going on. So it's kind of I don't know. It's a very odd situation.
Steven's
for sure.
the center point, because he has two women that want him, and yet there's an outside guy and an outside girl. Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but Cara's in denial right now, so she's saying that she doesn't want to be with him and that they can't be together. So
we don't buy it.
It's confusing. There's a lot going on there. But I agree with you. I was like, oh, that has to be inevitable. She's sort of just like popping in and out with no announcement, and she also doesn't know that Astrid knows. So
that's right. I don't know if Steven's complained to her that he's told Astrid everything. And then the other thing I wonder about too is, did Astrid connect the dots? Because she's known for a long time that Steven's had a woman talking to him in his head, when she used to make fun of him. Remember in like episode 1 or 2, she's like, oh, you got some beautiful woman talking to you in your mind, your imaginary friend. And now she meets her. I wonder if she connected the dots. Oh, that's been the woman the whole time.
I don't know. That's a good question, because she didn't see her teleport in. Cara was just there. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a good question. We'll have to see if she's put that together, or if they let us know if she's put that together.
But what made it awkward is because Astrid is having so much fun with Steven, and she maybe thought, things might advance a little bit between the two of them, and then she walks into a room with another woman there, and that kind of really put a quick stop to a lot of things.
That's true. I guess you're right. This was before the party. So, like, the scene before was them, like, setting up the party. But in my head, it just kind of turns into, like, one big thing. Yeah. But, yeah, this scene actually happens before the actual party starts.
Right. Yeah, because they were they were teleporting around and having fun.
Yeah. There's another moment at the party where she comes back up to his bedroom and catches him with yet another girl.
With another girl, yes. Yeah. So there, we got our scene straightened out. You're right.
Yeah.
And that was where you're talking about him being pretty popular, because there's that other girl she was like the hottie of the school and probably gets around. She probably sleeps with all the guys that are popular.
Probably.
Yeah. So we kind of put this scene out of order. Oh, well.
That's okay.
Astrid met Cara. Cara met Astrid. There you go. But talking about the bedroom, I just wanted to say that's actually a pretty neat bedroom. It's like up in the loft kind of thing. And I never had a cool bedroom when I was growing up. I always just had a plain old square or rectangle room. I never had a cool room like that. Like, that was a neat room.
It is cool. Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's kind of the aesthetic of maybe like that area of the country, like kind of like the Northeast. You know, where you have like those houses that are kind of built like that because they're all a little bit older. So, but yeah, no, I never had a cool bedroom like that either. But I agree, it is very cool.
It is cool. I like it. Going back to the other love connection.
Yes. So, in a scene that I absolutely did not expect, I mean, we have John basically kind of like trying to like talk to Cara like throughout the episode, and he's like, you know, I'm really, really sorry about lying to you. You know, I do love you, like all of these sorts of things. And it just starts to like kind of, I think, eat away at her, like what she's done, like just like the realization of everything. She kind of got swept up in it. Yeah. And so she actually comes clean to him, which I absolutely did not expect. And I also didn't really expect his reaction either. He didn't seem angry at first. He seemed almost kind of like accepting about it. And he's like, well, you know, I guess we're even. But, you know, I kept my secret for way longer and you only held on to this for like 2 days. So I guess you still win. Which I know wasn't meant to be funny, but I kind of found it a little funny.
Can you compare I can kill people and you slept around and cheated on me? I don't think those things are equal to me.
No, not really. They're both bad, but they're not equal.
Yeah, like my killing is not wrecking our relationship. So to all your points that you said there, like she must have sensed that he knew something wasn't right, but she was also carrying a lot of guilt, like so heavily that it couldn't last long. And I'm glad that it didn't, because we've had enough of these type of stories drag out for way too long on other shows. And what I really like is that this one seems to have really learned from all the others as it gets past its issues really quick. And I just want to say, way to go, writers. Thanks for not dragging stuff out.
Yeah, I agree. I do like that it doesn't get drug out. I get surprised every time, but they're pretty consistent about not dragging this stuff out.
Yeah. And like you, I was also surprised how John seemed to be okay with it all. He didn't freak out or even really get that mad. But if that was me, I mean, I'd be like, yeah, great, thanks for being honest, but you still cheated, so guess what? I'm out. We're done. For me, there's no room for forgiveness when it comes to cheating, because I've just experienced that too many times myself. So, you cheat, one and done, that's it. There's no coming back. There's no second chance. There's no you explaining yourself out of it. You did it. You were in control. You could have stopped yourself, but you didn't. So, trust is gone. You're gone. So I really, looking at how quick Steven or John was, and I mean, he even kissed her at the end of the episode. And for me, it'd be like, I don't know where your lips have been. I'm not kissing you ever again. Nope. nope. So it's just weird. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that kind of stuff. So
it's definitely a weird situation, especially because they have to continue to all like work together and see each other all of the time. So it's a little interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, but now, all right, we're going to talk about the whole thing with Astrid, because, I mean, I definitely saw this coming a mile away. I think we all did.
On the stairs?
Yes. Yeah. We're talking about, like, at the end of the party when we're on the stairs. She's getting upset with him. She catches him with the girl in his bedroom, and she's like, oh, you're popular, and it's making you act like a jerk, and, like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you told me to have fun with my powers. And it was just, like, this whole thing. Yeah. Well, in the end, she thinks what we've all been knowing is that she is secretly really in love with him, and that's why she's still sticking around.
And that's because he, like, in their argument, he asked her, why are you acting like this, Aster? What the hell? What's the big deal? And we hear her think, because I love you, Stephen.
Yes.
And he hears what she's thinking, and that's how it came out.
Yes, heat of the moment kind of thing. I like to equally think that both of their guards were kind of down, where he was maybe like actively not trying to hear her thoughts, or maybe she, because of the like strength of the feeling, it kind of like amplified it, and just like the combination of those
projected
things.
It, yeah.
Kind of,
so.
Yeah. That's kind of how I was feeling.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. We knew what she was feeling, but still, as a crappy way for it to get found out.
Yeah.
You know, because she already freaked on him to not ever read her mind, and then he did by accident. But I also I thought it was a little bit funny that she saw on his face that he just read what she was thinking.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, what? Did you just... Oh, and she was like, I was like, ooh. She recognized right away that he saw what she was thinking. So I thought that part was a bit funny.
Yeah. Well, because his reaction was spot on, as if she had said it aloud.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh.
Did you just...
That's got to be frustrating, though.
Yeah. Tough. But we'll come back to them again.
We will. So we do kind of get to the end of the party here. But this is before the next morning. And so Stephen, I think, is about to use his powers to help clean up the house when suddenly Uncle Jed shows up. And he has this handy-dandy gadget called a suppression cuff that he just sort of slaps on Stephen, which seemed a little bit aggressive to me. And he's basically like, you're AWOL, so let's see how you like it. And when you're ready to come back and, you know, put your big boy pants on, then you can have your powers back, or I'll take them away permanently.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, okay, Uncle Jed doesn't mess around.
It was definitely a form of control for sure. Like, it's basically, you don't want to work for me, then I'm either going to kill you, or this is where you don't get to use your powers. And I'm like, wow, yeah, like I think it's only Stephen that's going to get that kind of treatment. If it was anybody else, he wouldn't have allowed it to go that far.
Oh, God, no. He would have just taken the powers away right then and there.
So he's like, you want to be a human? You want to be a stupid teenager? Well, fine, be a stupid teenager. Powerless, though.
Yep.
And then it was kind of perfect timing, too, because it was right before the big game.
Yep.
And now Stephen
knew that was going to happen.
Cheat with his powers. So, pretty funny.
Nope. Oh, my gosh. So funny. But what's even more unexpected, and this is before, so Cara told John, but Stephen doesn't know Cara told John. So this becomes a fun and interesting scene where John offers to help Stephen out because I guess somehow he's managed to contact them, or I'm unclear how he managed to show up in the lair that he can't teleport into without any powers. So I don't know if someone came and got him or what, but
I think so. Yeah, I think someone came to get him, or he walked there. Maybe there's another exit that they know or something. I don't know.
That seems awfully easy.
I feel like somebody probably grabbed him.
Track. Yeah. So I felt like that was kind of weird. I wasn't clear on how he actually got there, but he's kind of explaining what it is, and they're basically like, yeah, sorry, you're kind of out of luck. We don't know what this is, and we can't get it off of you. And so John actually offers to kind of help Stephen out, which I thought was kind of weird. Like I think he explains about the basketball game.
Right.
And so he leaves with him and goes to, quote, like, help him out at this basketball game and make him look good, I guess, which I was surprised. But, he's definitely pissed at him. And so there's just some fun hijinks that end up happening throughout this entire basketball game until the very end.
It was funny. But before I forget, I wanted to say I even like the tech that are on the show because it's pretty cool. Like I think it's cooler than what the Flash came up for suppressing powers and different things that they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just neat.
I mean, it's similar to the Metacuffs. It's basically a bracelet.
Same idea. Yeah. It's just
same idea.
It looked like a Fitbit is what it looked like kind of thing. So
yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like John kind of made him look like a fool, but a lucky fool. And it was fun because he was making him trip, but, you know, he made the ball bounce off his face and go in the basket. He made him fall flat on his head, and the ball magically goes in the basket. He was just goofing around and embarrassing him, basically, in front of everybody.
Yes.
So that was a little bit of his revenge. But, like you said, it does go out in the hallway after the game, and we have a good old fist fight.
Yes, we do. Now, I thought that was an interesting way to go about it, because he's like offering to help him, and then all of a sudden when he kind of confronts him about it, he's like, yeah, well, I know everything, so here we are.
Yep. Stay away kind of thing. And I thought it was actually a good fight. Like, they didn't use any powers. It's just a fight in the school hallway, you know. But I kind of thought they were going to go have a jaunt or something to deal with it, but no, let's just punch it out in the schoolyard here, or school hallway, and deal with it, you know. And it was a good old fight, but then Cara shows up and kind of puts them both in their place.
Yes, which I thought was pretty fantastic, I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty fantastic. And then she openly chooses John, and you could see Steven's clearly hurt from hearing that. She's like, I'm going to be with John, and that didn't feel good for Steven.
No, so you still continue to have this weird love triangle situation.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Like you said, though, it's weird because they're all working together for a greater cause, so they have to figure a way through it, and that's kind of what she did. She's like, enough with this. I'm making the decision. I'm putting a stop to all of it right now.
Exactly.
And John's okay with that, but Steven will come back to it later, but Steven's not satisfied with that answer.
Nope. Well, I mean, of course John's okay with it. He won, in a sense, or at least for now. Oh, man. Well, the aftermath of all of this leads Steven to an interesting revelation. He kind of puts all the pieces together and figures out where our creeper is, and then decides to go after him by himself without any powers, which I thought was quite possibly the stupidest thing he's ever done.
Either stupid or really brave, but I just didn't understand how he
really
could possibly do anything at all without his powers. But
exactly,
let's not miss the fact that he was able to call Cara with the bracelet on, and to let them know that he's in trouble. So this is a couple times now that we've seen him be able to push past the technology with his powers. Like, he's definitely a higher evolved version of these breakouts, because he's done that twice now. And so I don't know if maybe he was thinking that he can use that some way while he's fighting, or he just wanted to prove himself to Jed and prove himself to everybody and get rid of this guy. Like, because it did seem to mean a lot to Steven. We can't let a rapist be out there. That's worse than a bank robber. We got to stop him now. So stupid, but what's the word for not heroic, but maybe heroic's the right word. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know.
I mean, I think his heart was in the right place, but I don't think there was any way he was ever going to be able to do anything. And a win is not the right way to put that, but gain the upper hand and bring this guy in. Like, I mean, how?
Unless he got a surprise hit on, like, knocked him out with a lead pipe or something. Like, there was no way.
Yeah, and that clearly didn't happen.
No. And then we did see the rapist guy get the better of him and actually knock him out and dump him in the sewer water. He's like, good luck, get out of this. And Steven's floating down the sewer drain, face down.
Yep, he is.
Not good.
It's not good. And I have questions about this next scene. So, I mean, of course, like, Cara and John, show up, and they're able to stop the other guy. Cara kind of handles the bad guy, and then John goes after Steven to pull him out of the water. But before he does that, Steven, in a way, comes face to face with his dad. And my question is, does that mean his dad is really dead? Because that felt very much like a crossing over to the other side kind of moment, where you're not supposed to be here, you need to go back, like, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if that's meant to be a play on it or if that's actually what happened. So
what was your reaction first? Like, I was, oh my God, that's his dad. Like, that surprised you?
it did. Yeah. And then my next reaction was, oh, this must mean his dad is really dead.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a scene like I want to try to break down because we know Stephen was knocked out. He's unconscious. He's face down in the water and he was basically drowning and dying.
Yes.
Or was he just knocked out? So, like you said, did he go to some Tomorrow People place in his head while he was knocked out? And that's just where his dad talked to him from? Or was that an afterlife thing? Seeing your loved ones on the other side before you fully die and cross over. What exactly are they trying to show us there? It could be either or.
I think it could be either or. I think just because of the situation, we're definitely meant to believe what I just said, that it was kind of like a crossing over kind of thing and that his dad is really dead. Yes. Especially because you see John trying to revive him.
Yeah, John's doing the mouth-to-mouth, not Cara.
I know. Well, that makes them even, I guess. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was like, I don't really know what to think about this. Like, on the one hand, I'm kind of leaning that way, but on the other hand, it could have been. He still could have been projecting himself somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because of the situation he was in. So I'm not 100% sure. I don't feel like it was clear.
Yeah, it wasn't clear. It's leaving us thinking, but it's leaving us to lean towards, yes, this was an afterlife thing. So we'll have to see. But his dad does tell him, Thanatos, remember Thanatos. What the hell is that?
The name of the next episode.
Is it? Okay. Well,
yes, it is.
We'll get our answers. But at this point in time, you're going, what is that? There's no clues at all to what it is other than, I can think of that must be a name of a project or something.
Yeah. It reminded me of Theranos, which is there's a huge controversy around that. I think it was a company. But there's a huge scandal around that. That was where that younger woman kind of duped, she conned a whole bunch of people out of billions of dollars by basically confidently projecting herself as a competent CEO. I think I don't know the full story. I haven't done a deep dive on it in a while, but the name of that company was Theranos, and so that just kind of reminds me. That's what it reminds me of.
Thanos, who knows what's going on there.
There's that too. Yeah.
All right, we won't have to wait long for answers for that, hopefully.
Nope. In typical fashion, they're going to give them to us pretty quickly. So,
good.
I don't know. I agree with you. I guess it's probably some kind of secret project or secret something. It's got that ring to it.
Yeah.
Was it from the Bourne Identity Project Treadstone or whatever?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it definitely has that ring to it for sure. Well, all right. We're going to come back to our love triangle, rectangle, quadrilateral, whatever you want to call it.
Overlapping parallelograms.
Yes. Pick your shape. Stephen loves Cara. Cara loves John. And then there's something between her and Stephen that she's going to keep denying just to keep the peace and because she wants to stay with John. And then, of course, there's Astrid, who's really in love with Stephen. And it's just this whole big thing. I don't even know what to do with all of that. It's just messy and awkward.
That sounds like some kind of children's song. I don't know what, Stephen loves Cara, Cara loves John, then there's Stephen sitting in a tree, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yes, sounds like a weird kid's rhyme, yeah.
Yeah, but I get the feeling Cara only loves John in a quote-unquote we have history together kind of way. Because Stephen is just too much of a new wow factor kind of thing that she can't resist. And he knows that she can't resist him, and he's like, you feel something for me, there's something between us, I can sense it, we can sense it, you can't ignore it. And as he's saying that, you could see her face kind of letting go, and you could see her looking at him with those lusty eyes again. And she's like,
oh, really?
Damn, he's right.
I didn't quite pick up on that.
Yeah, you could see her face soften. Her face just softens, and you could see her he's right. I can't stop thinking about you kind of look to her face, so...
Interesting.
Something's going to change again. Yeah.
Again. Yeah, well, they've kind of set it up that way, that they're inevitable, if you will. So we'll just have to see how that happens. But, I mean, even Astrid has noticed that there's really something between the two of them.
It's interesting that she saw that Cara wants to be with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Well, I think what I found, like, the fact that Steven admits to Astrid that he loves them both is kind of cool. Like, it's neat that they're, again, not holding back on any of this stuff. Like, yeah, love triangle, whatever, but I just find it cool that they're, in the writing, they're making these characters own up to what they've done wrong. They're making them admit to things. They're making them reveal their secrets. There's not a secret that's lasting all friggin' season long, frustrating the heck out of us. Right away, Steven says, I do love you too, Astrid, but there's another girl and I feel something for her. I can't help it. And Astrid's just like, well, you got to figure that out. Like, I just love, they're actually acting like mature 20-year-olds and figuring this stuff out and not being stupid about it and, you know, teenager angsty and let's drag this out for 18 episodes. Like, it's, I appreciate it. I do.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's true. Although, I guess I read the situation between his I love you to Astrid just a little bit different. Like, she kind of cuts him off before he can say, but, like, just as a friend, you know what I mean? But I definitely got the feeling that, like, you know, he cares for her and he loves her on some level, but not, like, a romantic type of level. But she kind of cuts him off with, you know, the quip about 80s movies. So,
yeah,
which was kind of funny.
But again, what I'm wondering if, I wonder if he told Cara that, I said this earlier, if Cara is the woman that's been in his head all this time, because Astrid knew about that, and now she knows about the power. So I really want to know if she knows she's connecting the dots, or if he connected them for her and told her. Like, you remember that woman that was in my head all this time, and you just kept making fun of me? Well, this is her. We haven't seen that.
We haven't. I wonder if it will come out, like, later, though.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to come out at some point.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
We'll see.
We'll see. Interesting stuff. That is it for our discussion. Let's pause for our ad break if there happens to be some in this episode.
Shape out an eagle!
All right. Favorite scenes time. You and me are kind of like bookending this episode. You have, like, the opening quote, and I have, like, the one that almost closes the show.
Yes, I really liked this one, and I was like, "Ooh, should I pick this early on?" But I really liked the way that that John ends up putting what he ultimately says, and I chose this, or I chose this. I called this, "You can't choose your destiny."
It was destined for us to have this clip.
Didn't mean to scare you. You didn't. We need your help. Halter's tracking a breakout who actually deserves to get caught. We just gotta make sure they bring him in.
Sorry, taking a little time off.
Says who?
My boss, / uncle. He thinks the stress of the job's getting to me.
And what do you think?
I think that Jedediah only knows about half my life. The ultra half, which is bad enough, but then there's the whole survival of our species depends on you thing with you guys.
Steven, I get it. It's a lot of pressure. And our world can be a little intense. But it's up to you. You can't choose your destiny. You can only fulfill it or fail it. Do you hear me, Steven?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. I am starving.
That's actually the one that opens the episode before the title screen, yeah.
It is. And I really liked that quote, and I like that it ends up coming back later in the episode. I am worried about that quote's origin, because it has a vague ring of Jedediah to it, and John says it to Steven, who in turn says it back to Jedediah. And so I'm wondering if, like I've said a few episodes ago, if he knows everything that's going on, that Steven is looped in and that he's trying to play him, and it's really like a triple con, you know?
Right.
Where Jed has got the upper hand. and he knows everything that's happening, and he's just waiting for the right moment to take them all down.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Judd a few times be way ahead of them, so maybe he's got secret things plotted, and yeah, I don't know.
Just a thought. I don't know. It was a great quote, but it also sounded a bit too wise for John to come up with on his own. That's going to sound rude, but that's kind of how they've set up that character.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, mine goes right to the end of the episode, and this is Astrid and Steven. Well, Steven trying to make up to her, and you know, he catches up to her at a bar, and she wants nothing to do with him, but he pushes his way in there, and there's actually a lot going on in the scene. They're reconnecting, and you know, there's some stuff she's talking about. We'll get into it after we hear it, but my favorite part of this was when she's like, this is the perfect plot to an 80s movie, and she goes and describes the whole 80s movie, and everything that she says is exactly the movie Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey. And nice. She described it to a T, and I'm like, that's definitely Can't Buy Me Love. And that whole thing, but we'll play the whole clip. Here it is.
Thank you. Peace offering?
I'm not in the mood.
Little known fact, pork buns were served at the Geneva Convention. These little guys are the unsung heroes of all great peace treaties. You mind if I sit?
If I said no, would it stop you?
Definitely not.
Ouch.
God, I'm fine. Look, I let my powers go to my head a little.
You think?
Okay, a lot. Becoming a jerk wasn't part of my plan. I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me who I was before I had them.
Yeah, it was like the plot of an 80s movie. You went from geek to chic, then back to geek. You got the popular girl, and here you are, begging for your best friend back. Except you ruined the ending, because you already know how she really feels about you.
I love you too, Astrid.
Oh, barf. Yeah, here comes the like a friend qualifier.
No, it's not just that, okay? There's someone else.
Yeah, the girl in your room, Cara.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, she doesn't love me back.
Is that what she told you? You don't have to be a mind reader to know she's lying.
The Can't Buy Me Love plot line was perfect. You went from geek to chic and popular, and then right back again. Now you try to beg for your best friend back, and you got the popular girl. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah.
And also the plot of every 80s movie.
Yeah. But it was just good to get some Astrid stuff and let her be part of the story and really develop a little bit more. And this was a good episode for her, so I liked that.
It was a good episode for her. Definitely reinforced my theory that he was going to say, but just as friends before she cut him off. But that's what I think.
Well, because she interrupts him. She goes, oh, barf, and here comes the just as friends bit, and he's like, no, it's not just that. There's another woman. So it's tough to say, because he does say, I love you too. Like, he said it pretty, like it was, I don't know. He said it with a little bit of compassion there, I think. I don't know. I don't know where it develops. We'll have to see. I mean, knowing that she loves him and admits to it might have opened his mind to like, oh my God, maybe I love her too. Like, it might have triggered that. True. Because that does happen, right? So
it does, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. True.
So, all right. Well, there you go for favorite scenes. Let's remind everybody how they can support the show.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
It's feedback, your time to speak up. Believe it or not, what you think and you say means a lot to us. But why should we sit here and wait if you won't hurry up? So feedback or simply shut up.
Yeah, we haven't heard that one in a while, and I just figured that's what Astrid was wanting Stephen to do. Just shut up.
Yes.
All right, we open it up with an email from Comic Geek Kev.
Hi, Legends. As much as I can't stand the love triangle story, I'm glad that, like most of this season, it wasn't dragged out. Cara told John, he took his pretty mild revenge, and it seems they've moved on for the most part. Almost makes it seem like it was pointless. I'm sure there's more to come, considering Steven admitted to Astrid that he loves Cara. Insert severe eye roll here. Speaking of Astrid, do you really think he accidentally read her mind? Seems suspect.
I think Harley broke it down. I think in the heat of the moment with all the crap that was going on, he lost momentary control. And I bet you his antenna were wide open and he just heard it by accident. I
agree. His powers, he doesn't have great control over them yet either. So yeah. I think it was an accident. Anyway. Yeah. That dampening bracelet is a pretty cool gadget. Not for the TPs, of course. Have they explained why Steven's father supposedly created all this stuff to use against his people, quote unquote? They have not. But my personal theory is that he was making it all for himself so he could pass as normal. Or maybe suppress his own powers so that he would stop being crazy or feeling crazy.
That, and maybe we don't know if his dad was planning to go after bad TP people as well.
That's true. And maybe Ultra maybe he was a part of Ultra or started Ultra and then Jed corrupted it, maybe. I don't know.
Well, his mom told us that they worked together. Remember she said,
oh, that's right.
My husband was such a kind, loving man who loved his kids until he started working for you, and then he changed.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so.
Good point. I'm not a huge fan of describing the rapist as insane. Seems really reductive. Do better 10 years ago. He kind of was crazy, though.
Freaky
Didn't
crazy.
one of you... Yeah. Didn't one of you point out last week that Steven can't keep a partner? Yes, that was me. LOL. It would have been ridiculous if someone on the show didn't notice. But even if he wasn't working with the TPs, that guy's right. He's awfully new to be going out on missions. I'm guessing that doesn't usually happen in Ultra. They seem like a pretty buttoned up place as far as rules. I guess being family has some advantages or disadvantages.
Well, that, and I think Jed knows that Steven's super powerful, and that's why he's letting him go out there, because he
True.
Having him on the team could be an advantage because of what he can do.
Also true.
Yeah.
Apparently, Steven didn't get the memo that using your powers for personal gain will come back to bite you. Well, I do think John's revenge was pretty basic. I hope Steven understands how the superpower system works now. It appears he didn't have the original goal of becoming BMOC when he was helping his little team, but he appeared to let it go to his head pretty quickly. The house party definitely does not seem like his style. But the timing of the D-band was pretty great. So just as he was about to do some TK cleaning, well done, Jed. Yeah, okay, I thought that was the case. He's about to clean up the house, and then all of a sudden, boom, no powers.
Yeah.
So he got busted. Oh, man. All right, so we get reminded Steven has an actual immediate family, sort of. A brief Luca sighting and a faceless note from Marla. I remember Marla has an actual storyline at some point, but it might be late in the season. So I know we will see her again, but the last few episodes have left his family on the sidelines, unfortunately.
Yeah, we mentioned that too.
Yeah. Cara's previously unrevealed mention that running water can interfere with telepathy, because superhero science, was very obvious foreshadowing for something. Let's see if it ever comes up again. I'm guessing not. Maybe more correctly called story science. Or plot device, as it's more commonly known.
Well, but you know what I thought? I actually thought she said that just as a way to, like, as an excuse.
I 100% thought she made it up.
Yeah, she made it up just to cover her own butt in that moment, because she didn't want to come clean or anything. Like, that's...
In that moment, I thought she made it up. But then once he figured out the whole sewer connection, I was like, oh, maybe that wasn't BS.
Maybe it wasn't, yeah.
That's kind of where I went. But I do agree. I think that it was convenient for this particular plot line. I don't think it'll ever come up again. Maybe it will, but I don't think it will. Anyway, after a somewhat personally bumpy episode for Steven, it was nice to see him be able to figure out the water rapist connection and then go after him powerless by himself. And then we get another demonstration as to how powerful he has the potential to be when he's able to reach Cara despite having the D-band on. I still think that's more to do with their connection and not necessarily his powers.
Oh. Which is both, maybe? Making it work?
Maybe. That's true. Maybe it is a little bit of both. But might we see him completely be able to override any of that technology at some point? It seems inevitable. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Perhaps. When he was in the water and saw his father, I thought they were insinuating his father might be dead. Near-death experience and all. But he came out of it believing even more strongly that Jack Roger... Okay, I'm glad that they're pointing out that he has two names, because that's been bothering me, is alive. So, was that an actual telepathic connection? I was a little confused there.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. Well,
we debated that one as well.
Mama Marla did explain that they've changed their identities, so I think there's different names at play here based on what time period they're talking about or where they are because of the name changing.
I know, it's just very confusing to hear the same man referred to as under two different names. Anyway, another entertaining episode overall. I give this one 8.5 out of 10 skanky party hookups. Until next time, Comic Geek Kev.
Yeah. I felt American Pie in that moment, that's for sure.
Oh God, yeah, that's a good callback. Very American Pie. That movie does not hold up, by the way.
Really? The first one I still laugh. Part 1 and Part 2 still makes me giggle my ass off.
It's a little cringy as a woman these days.
I
used to find it very funny back in the day, in my teens and early 20s.
Yeah.
A lot of those movies, as a seasoned woman at this point, I am not finding as funny.
Okay. Sometimes humor is different for everybody, but sometimes I just like to go back to, I don't know what the right word is, if it's raunchy or, no, not raunchy, because raunchy is different. Like just humor where people didn't care about all the political correctness and wokeness of what's all over the internet now. Like every once in a while I like to go back and just go, back when nobody cared and people could just be funny.
Yeah, some of them play well and some of them don't.
Yeah.
I've found for me, they're not holding up as well. Some of them.
The two that I liked that I couldn't help laugh at was the one with all the guys with Adam Sandler and David Spade and what is that one when they're adults and they're trying to be like kids again and
Billy Madison?
No, not Billy Madison. No, much newer than that. Dang it!
Oh,
because there's
that I don't know.
There's Part 1 and Part 2, and they're just friggin'. It's about them. They're adults, and they go to the lake where they used to be the cool kids, and they're no longer the cool kids, and the cool kids take over. And
do they have like families and stuff?
Yeah,
too? I think I have seen that. I don't remember what it's called though.
Give me 1 second here. I'll look at it because it just cracks me. It's stupid, goofy humor, but it makes me laugh my ass off.
Don't they convince one of the little girls that chocolate is like a swear word or something? Or they use chocolate as like a euphemism for sex or alcohol or something. Grown-ups, yes, that's it.
Grown-ups Part funny. 1 and 2. I can't help but laugh at those. They're just goofy, stupid humor. Like the scene when they're the four of them are when they're at the top of the lake and they're up on the cliff. And they were talking about how they used to jump off and how cool they were, and then the new cool kids came up and told them to strip down naked and jump off the cliff. And they all jump off one at a time, and the one guy jumps off. He does a super belly flop face plant, completely naked, and the other guy jumps off, and his legs are in the splits. So he goes in basically balls first, smack, and he's and then the big heavy guy jumps in and lands right on top of him, and he's naked, and he has a
oh my gosh!
And then, he lands on David Spade, and David Spade comes up. He's I was inside you, and he's treading water. Like, I can't help laughing. it's just so stupid but funny.
Yeah, I feel like the stupid ones hold up better than the raunchier ones. I don't know.
Yeah, depending. Anyway, let's get back to feedback because we got Perry White hanging out waiting for his thoughts.
Hey, people of tomorrow. Perry White here with feedback for the Tomorrow People episode Limbo. And it looks like Limbo is where Steven's dad is at the moment. I'm just wondering if that is some sort of situation where maybe he tried to teleport and wound up in some sort of dimension between life and death that he can't escape from. I'll be interested to see them explore that and see exactly where he is. I will say this is probably one of the more fun episodes that I've watched, and I put my finger on it right away. I, for one, never believed that Stephen looked like he was in high school, but let's just be honest, once they leaned into the fact that he was in high school in this episode, it feels like they dusted off of all of the 1980s and early 2000s high school movies and said, let's figure out a way to put some references in here, man. So yeah, I felt like there was some Teen Wolf in this episode, obviously with the whole basketball situation, obviously with the house party situation, and the girl up in his room felt very much like it fit in with American Pie. And there was just sort of like this Breakfast Club element that sort of permeated the entire high school episode.
Breakfast Club doesn't hold up either.
And all of those things are things that I love, and that's why I think I had the most fun with this episode. I will say this, though. The part about the episode where Jedediah put the bracelet on Stephen and took away his power, those sort of elements reminded me of Smallville. I mean, if you watch anything about Smallville, you know that Clark lost his powers on numerous occasions, and he used those as opportunities to learn a little bit more about himself and who he was without powers. I thought it was really, really interesting how quickly the Tomorrow people dismissed Stephen when he did not have access to his powers. Now, I feel a lot of that might have been sort of sort of coming from particularly Cara and John, from the fact that they obviously were not appreciating Stephen in that moment and the predicament that they were in terms of this whole love triangle thing. But it was, they didn't sort of sugarcoat it at all. It's like, hey, if you're not a Tomorrow person, man, you really got no use for you. So I thought that was telling. It'll be interesting to see how much of that they come back and explore down the line. The other thing that I really, really, really liked about this episode was, again, sort of referenced in Smallville again, was I always thought and I always wished that they had taken more opportunities in the show to show Clark having fun with his powers. And although this created an issue for Stephen, much like I suspect it would have created issues for Clark, I do like the fun aspect of it in terms of him using his powers and what that can mean. Let's be honest, man. A kid in high school with these 3 T's, man, yeah, you're going to end up doing some stuff that you probably shouldn't do. And I just thought that was sort of a fun thing to explore. Lastly, I thought it was interesting, some of the comments that Carol was making about this serial rapist guy. And I just thought it was interesting how she talked about how someone who, quote unquote, is evolved to have the 3 T's, like somehow that would also generate some sort of moral compass for people. I'll be quite honest, I think getting access to more powers just makes you more of what you are or more of what you desire to be. And for a lot of people, that means mischievous, devious, and terrible people. I just thought it was interesting that her sort of default would be, well, someone who has access to these powers would obviously do good things with them. And obviously that's at the core of who she is. And that's probably the guiding principle that she would suspect that everyone would have. But I do think it is incredibly naive. Anyway, this has been Perry White meeting his deadline for feedback for the Tomorrow People episode Limbo. I look forward to hearing what everyone else has to say about this episode. I'm enjoying this ride, and obviously, if you can't tell, I had much more fun watching this episode than I did the last one. Anyway, I'm out.
Carrie gets it. He gets it this episode. All just the lighthearted fun and the 80s references. I love it, man. I get you, brother. You're right there with me. And he was on par with a lot of the things we were talking about, too, so...
Yeah, he was, which is kind of funny.
Are you reading our minds? Did you just break out, Carrie?
Yeah, I know.
What's going on?
Telepathy.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Good stuff, man. All right. The rest of you, if you'd like to get in some feedback, you know what to do.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to tomorrowslegendspodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
And like every show that we cover, you guys, the Patreon bonus listeners lounge is still open. It's open 24/7 for business. So if you guys still want to send in special questions, special feedback for us to cover on there, go right ahead. Because I was just thinking, with what Carrie was saying about not everybody's going to be good with powers, like we discussed, I was thinking a good question to ask us would have been, what would you guys do if you got powers? Like if you were on the darker side, what would you actually go do? So there's some fun things that we could talk about there, on the Patreon.
I don't even know.
Because you're Harley. You're naughty. There's some things I'm sure you could come up with.
I mean, yeah, but not that I would, in reality, actually do if I ever got powers.
See, because when I was a kid, I used to dream of superpowers and everything. One of the powers that I used to think would be cool is stopping time.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like what we see in Flash Time, where like not where I'm moving so fast, but I could just snap my fingers and everybody in the world would be frozen, and I could go do whatever the hell I wanted. And when I'm done doing what I wanted to do, snap my fingers and time continues on. I always thought that'd be cool power, and I was like, whoa, what things could I do with that? Like, there's so much.
A lot of crazy things with that, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's just one of my one of my weird fantasies in that.
That's funny.
All right, so episode 8 next week for the Tomorrow People, apparently called Thanatos. So we'll see what that's all about. And then, the Mandalore will be covering. We're a week behind. We had to delay. We'll be covering Tales from the Empire shortly, and then Acolyte comes up soon. So
nice.
Yeah, check those out. And yeah, it's all good. Good stuff. We're looking forward to everything that is coming down the way. This is The Flash, signing off.
And this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.